The opinions and views expressed by individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of this network, their group, or other organization they may be involved with.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Thursday Sesh. Today is the 29th of February. So I'm a little bit late. Today was a storm day here in Nova Scotia for the kids, so I decided to make it a cooking day. So we were actually doing some cooking right up until we got more cooking to do after I'm done the show. We went and got, you're going to hear my cats. I can't stop it. So I have two females that are very vocal. And I have two unfixed males that are hanging around outside my house. They're not mine, obviously. They're the neighborhood ones. But they're driving my two females insane. Like, these two girls want to get laid so bad. And, of course, these two males are out there tempting them at the windows. So they're meowing at my windows. And there's, like, really not much I can do. Like, I've got my catio. So during the day, they're out there. They can do whatever the fuck they want. And I really don't hear them, but they're inside right now because I shut it down at night when it gets cold. So yeah, if you hear them in the background, I'm sorry. I can't stop them right now. They're in, like, the gentleman that lives with me. I have a roommate. He just came back from the store and he said, yeah, the two males are out in the backyard hanging out in the ditch. And that's why, like, my two females that I have in here are going kind of insane because these two males are out there just tempting them with all kinds of the male, you know how males tempt women. That's how I said to my son. I said, us girls, we're good girls until you men went, you tempt us and you turn us into horny sluts, and this is what happens. They're perfectly good girls until these two males come around my backyard, and then they get them all going. So if you hear them, that's why. I'm gonna get going here really quickly. I'm not doing any reviews today. I'm just smoking some of my regular old weed. So I'm just going to roll that up for this. Here, I got 2 minutes to roll a fucking joint. So we're going to roll that up. And then we'll get to chatting and give you kind of, what's going on with the growing and all that. So I'm just going to shut up for a second here and get rolling because I literally, like I said, I have 2 minutes to get this joint rolled. So we're going to get this rolled up. I just been, like I said, I was a little bit late because I was doing some cooking and stuff right up until then. And I actually, so like I've explained in a couple of the podcasts before this, I'm getting into growing and supplying restaurants with, some of the custom growing, like romaine and stuff like that, stuff that it's kind of fluctuating a lot. The reason why I started doing that is because during COVID, my main job, and has been for the last 20 years, is I work from home doing graphic design and web development. During COVID, it kind of went stagnant, of course, because there wasn't a lot of businesses open. People weren't doing a lot of things. So I was able to get by, but I wasn't making like a shitload of money. So I started doing like the food stuff as like a side hustle. It turned out really well last year. So making it more forefront for this year. Well, just my luck. I start doing that and I'm doing really well at it. I get busy with web development again, which I'm not complaining. I mean, money's money. I'm not going to fucking complain about that. But yeah, I was sitting there actually, and I have 2 websites on deck right now that are set to be launched next week. So I was working at them between that and doing like the cooking with my little munchkin because he's home today. So yeah, I've had a busy day today. A busy week because I actually did a logo design last week and a web refresh, and then I have my accounting for the year to do. So yeah, just my luck, 2 years of me being, relatively stagnant, close to going on. Oh shit! I just dropped my paper. Oh good, it didn't land. I had oil on it, so I didn't want it to land on the floor. It landed up, thank God, because that would have been a mess. Yeah, I was kind of going stagnant for about 3 years, close to 3 years, with the web development. Again, I was earning enough that I was paying the bills, but I was really trying to fight for new contracts and new customers and new work. And I really was just growing. I've told people I was growing really like wary of web development. So I was getting to the point where I just wasn't pushing for new contracts a lot too. I got really into growing food and doing my own thing. I do jams and honeys and all that fun stuff. But yeah, now I started to go balls to the wall to that this year, decided to go all in with the growing, which I still am doing. But yeah, and then I got busy with my web development naturally. Some new customers come on board and did some new logo designs. So that's good. I mean, I'm not going to argue that, because I feel like because I took like a 3-year sort of hiatus from doing new work, I'm actually getting back into it again. Like, I'm kind of refreshed myself where I burnt myself out from doing it for 20 years all the time, like 8 hours a day. And I also worked as a cook. And I worked fairly rigorous hours. Like I didn't work a lot of days, but when I worked, it was hard work. Like I worked in a kitchen that was behind 2 bars. So we did 2 separate menus, 2 separate bars at all times. During COVID, it was slow, but before COVID hit, we were really freaking busy. Like we were right downtown Halifax. So anytime any like tourism come through, we got fairly busy, or any kind of events that were going on, we were busy. I was doing 12-hour shifts down there going balls to the wall. So yeah, coming back here and kind of taking like that hiatus during COVID, I don't feel as burnt out from web development now than I did like a couple years ago, because it's not my main income. So I have, a choice. I get up in the morning, I'm like, do I do web development or do I work on my other like food, and do I do my growing? So I have the choice. I don't always have to do web development. So I think that's why I don't feel so burnt out from it. Actually, and I just happy 710, everybody. I'm a little late, but happy 710. So yeah, the update on the growing is really isn't much for this week. I didn't start anything new, because this week was, I think, like the ending week, or what I want to call it, the last real cold week of the winter. So I was like, what's the sense of trying to start seeds and trying to keep them warm when we're literally like, tonight is supposed to go down. We went from plus 12 today down to minus 12 tonight. So 24-degree difference in less than 24 hours. It's really not good for your plants, not good for seed germination, I don't imagine. And unless I want to keep a heater on that thing the whole 2 days, which I mean, could, but after tonight, it's going to be above zero, like every night. So what's the sense of doing that and, making extra work for myself when I could literally just wait a couple of days and start them? So that's what I'm going to do. Is I just kept an eye on the weather, and because, like I said, I've explained before and my other previous viewers, my house is old. So I have a lot of drafts. Now I'm doing a lot of work over the summer to really, it's the sill of my house. And if you don't know what the sill is, it's where your house meets the ground. So if you have a foundation house, so if you have a house with cement foundation, you don't have that. You have cement, meaning, you've got cement and the wood meeting together. There's no ground. My house is essentially sitting in the ground with a crawl space. So there's a lot of cold air that comes in that area where the wood is meeting the ground. I've done a lot of stuff. This house is older. Like I literally actually partied in this house when I was 15, which is a really weird feeling, because I used to come here all the time, and it was obviously my friend's house, and his parents used to sleep upstairs. I never met his parents because we used to come here late at night and party. This used to be a party house when I was 16. These were the parents, the cool parents that let their kids party. So I used to come here and party when I was 16. So this house is not, and my friend was raised here. So this house isn't, it's fairly dated. So yeah, I have some repairs to do to it, because it hasn't been kept up a lot. So I've been doing it. The property, like my cousin inherited the property, and she's a great girl, but she just doesn't know a lot about these things. So a lot of the things that should have been fixed kind of got overlooked just from lack of knowledge. I gotta like this guy. Because owning a house is not an easy responsibility, or doing it properly if you want to do it all yourself. I mean, if you want to pay people and you got all the money in the world, then that's fine. But I don't have the money in the world, but I do have a lot of knowledge. I was raised by my grandfather and my grandmother, and they were really old school and did everything themselves. My grandfather built his own house right from the ground up. And then when my father won the lottery when I was 12 or 13, and they built a house for him. And even though they'd won the lottery and he won the lottery and he had a lot of money, we still built the house because it's just the way that our family is. It's just like my grandfather we built with really good materials. And of course we brought in the plumbers and everything else, but we still had a hand in the building because that's just the way my grandfather was. He loved building things. So he passed along a lot of knowledge to me when it come to how to look after a house. So, I'm able to kind of do some necessary upgrades. Last year I did a lot of work to the landscaping. There was a lot of overgrow and kind of cleaning up the property. And this spring, I got myself some power tools. And that was the one thing that I kind of needed to do the extra work that I didn't really want to go do. But I just decided that it was time. So I invested a couple $100 into some power tools so that I can actually do the work myself, because I did pay to for somebody that knew how to roof and how to do framing, come in and do some initial framing work for me and some initial roof work. But the rest of it I can manage myself because of what my grandfather has taught me. So that's what I'm going to be spending the summer doing. I've done a couple things. Like I said, I built a back deck onto my back kitchen, which is going to stop a lot of draft coming in the wintertime once I get it all put together. I'm replacing all the wood. We had wood decks here. I've torn them out because they were all fucking rotten. And I'm replacing that all with patio stones. So that's going to make a big difference, because where there's areas right now where my house is exposed by air, it's going to be filled in with patio stone. So obviously that's going to stop a lot of fucking draft coming in once that's all built up. And then I'm going around my house and I have all the wood from the patios, and there's quite a bit. There was two big deck, not off ground, so I don't really want to call them landings, I guess. Two wood landings. One was out back, one was out front, and they were quite large, but they were useless and the wood was degraded. So I pulled that up, but I'm refurbing that wood because there's quite a bit. And I'm building planter boxes all the way around my house. And I'm going to be putting drainage rock in the bottom of them. That's going to stop a lot of draft because it's going around the sill. Like where my sill is the planter boxes are going in front of it. So that's going to stop a lot. So I'm not going to have to worry as much come next winter about these types of things, because where my grow is, the drafts are going to be stopped because I'm stopping the location of where my grow is, which is over here in my back corner of my kitchen. I can feel the drafts in certain spots with my hand on the floor where the sill is. So I know that's why I'm just like not really doing much about it. I'm just going to wait for it to get warmer, get that grow going, because I'm not going to have those issues in the wintertime next year because of all the stuff that I'm doing on the outside and landscaping. I've also built a catio, which is, again, it's facing the sill, like it's in front of that sill where that draft is coming in my house. So all the builds that I'm doing over the course of the winter, summer, are really going to drastically change those issues that are in here. And though I'm not going to have those drafts in those areas, I'm going to be doing a bunch more stuff to just winterize the place better. And that's the one thing that kind of didn't get maintained over the last 10-15 years that, you know, I recognized is there's no drainage rocks around the house anymore. The sill where the wood, like there should be like landscaping past that point so that the drafts aren't coming in there. All my drainage rock is gone from that point. Last year I dug up, oh, happy 420, everybody. I already have my joint set aside. Happy 420. Last year I dug up where the sill was and I relined it with a new liner so that it stops a lot of draft just from having the new liner there. So yeah, and I started a lot of that work last week. That's another reason why I haven't done any planting, was because I was busy with outdoor stuff. I had a couple nice days last week during the day, so I got some outside work done. I had to get my catio done. I have 9 cats. It was shut down for 2 months while I was rebuilding it because I had a temporary one up that I set up last year, but I got one rebuilt all nice and professional, like with a full roof on it. So I had to get that done because these little fur balls were driving me insane. They wanted to go out and play so bad. They could see it being built too. Like they knew that that was their area. So I've got that done. So this week, long roundabout story. This week, oh, I see the comments. I'm sorry, guys. I always forget to flip over to the comments. Hello, Justin. How are you? Sorry about that. Happy 420. So this week, it's actually Saturday. Tomorrow, I've got some shit to do. My kid's gonna not be in school again tomorrow. He's got a day off. He's sick, so he had a storm day, and then he's gonna have a sick day tomorrow. But we're gonna do some cooking and just kind of hang out tomorrow. And it's still gonna be chilly, but Saturday and then after that, it's gonna be like in +0, even at night. So I'm gonna do my planting on Saturday. That's my plan. So on Thursday of next week, the next session, I'm going to have a germination update. I'll be able to tell you because I'm going to plant them on Saturday. Obviously, there's not going to be a huge update, but if everything goes right, I'll have at least some seeds that have popped. They should have popped within the 4 to 5 days. I'm growing different types, but I do know that some of the herbs pop really quickly. And what else was there? Oh, the romaine. The romaine lettuce the first time popped really quickly too. So I'll be regerminating. I got everything cleaned up with that. Like I flushed out the system with new water and everything just to clean it all up. I have the new fertilizer. So I'll be germinating my seeds on Saturday. I'll give a full, what I have to do is when I'm sitting here, I'm at my computer, which is my webcam. When I just want to show you guys anything that's not right here, then I use my cell phone. So next week I'll have it on my cell phone so I can take you guys over. I'll show you the new setup with the seeds in it, with the new covers and everything that I did. I showed you guys last week how I cut out those blackout pieces and all of that. I'm going to put that all together on Saturday. So I'll give you an update on that one, and hopefully, you know, if my instinct tells me right, those all should germinate quickly, because I really do believe that the reason why that those plants germinated quickly and then didn't expand was that water was just too cold. The roots just didn't want to grow into that cold water. Because the tops were, I don't know, about that long before I finally decided that I needed to restart. So above ground, they were doing fine. So the light was doing well. They were obviously, you know, they germinated really quickly and took off really well. So, you know, the air above and the light and everything was fine. And when I took everything down and cleaned everything out there and I pulled those seedlings out, there was almost no root in them. So that leads me to believe that my instinct is correct. Because again, last year, I'm going to bring that probably down this week too, is the arrow garden that I made last year that I was using to start my seeds and stuff in. And within 3 weeks, the roots were at least 6 to 12 inches on some of those plants. Those were in for 3 weeks and there was no root, like none, hardly any in these blocks. So I'm going to say my gut is right about, number one, there was too much light exposure and the water was just too cold for the plant, for the roots to thrive. And that's why the tops took off and the leaves took off really well, because above the water, the air was warm. The air's warm here, but the water's cold because of where it was sitting on the floor. So that temperature difference between the cold water and the warm air is why I think the tops did well and the roots didn't do as well as they should have. So obviously we will see if my instinct is right, because I'll be doing this setup on Saturday. On Thursday, I should have at least some idea of what's popped and what hasn't. That's still a short period of time, so it'll probably be the Thursday after that that I'll have a full idea if my instincts are correct, and I'll be able to tell within about 2 weeks just by looking at the root system, right? Because again, I know how fast the roots took off in that AeroGarden, and I'll be bringing that down to start my garden vegetables. So that will be, I'm going to start that, in March, April, so that we'll be ready to take those out in June. That would be the outdoor grow. So I'll be doing a little bit of both. First the indoor, and then I'll be doing the AeroGarden to start my babies for the outdoor. But with that being said, I'm going to end off tonight. I actually have some brownie making to do. Me and my son are making brownies tonight before bed because we need treats. He's going to his dad's for the weekend, so his dad's picking him up tomorrow. So we're going to do them tonight a little bit later, so that the way they're just done, and he can take some with him tomorrow. So I'm going to let you guys go tonight, but we'll see you guys next Thursday when I will have a garden update. And hopefully, like I said, Michelle and I are going to be doing some Thursdays where we're going to do some chatter back and forth too. It's the girl that does the Ganges News with me, but she had an ear infection, so we're going to kind of let her get over that. She was really drained out from it. And this is just, like I said, the last week. Well, I don't know for most people, but for me, this is my worst week of the year. I'm the most tired. The weather's the shittiest in February and everything else. So it's just like, let's just get this fucking week over and done with. And then next week is a new leaf. It's starting in March. We're out of the worst of the winter, at least for Nova Scotia. Like, I know that different peaks happen at different times for different provinces, obviously, but for Nova Scotia, it's February. February is just the most dreadful time in Nova Scotia. I'm sure that's like for like 90% of the country as well. But yeah, so I didn't really try to push it for this week. I knew she was still recovering. So yeah, but we will be doing that in the spring, where we'll be popping in and just having chitter chatter about whatever we had covered in the news the week before, that we don't get time to cover and chat about. So until then, I'll try to get her on for next week too. We'll see how she feels. If not, then we'll try to schedule the first available time when she feels up to doing the chatter. So until then, we'll see you Monday for the Naganja News update, and we'll see you next Thursday for the garden update. And I'm going to play the closer here. Until then, we'll see you guys later. See ya.
Are you a Northern Ontario resident searching for credible information on cannabis as a medicine? No Sir is here to help. Established in 2013, Northern Ontario Cannabis Education and Resources is here for you. No Sir Director Kim Cooper brings you 45 plus years experience utilizing cannabis as a medicine and is spreading the education across the North. Activism, resources, referrals, and more at No Sir. Don't be a jackass. Say no sir to cannabis propaganda with No Sir. Find us at www.nocer.ca knoknetwork.ca. Advertising space available at NOK. Contact us for a rate sheet at knoknetwork.com. Send us a message on our social media platforms or email us at info@noknetwork.com.